Oh, hello. That took me a couple of minutes just to get into the Facebook Live component of Facebook because everything just went really, really slow. And what's interesting is that about 45 minutes ago, I realized I had hit my wall for the day. I was unable to focus and concentrate. I was distracted by all the things. I kept looking for easy things to do, which are cues, signals, signs that I am done for the day, that we have had enough, we've done enough, the brain is just not going to engage with anything else more useful. Self-awareness, you're a wonderful thing. So I know that after I've done this video this afternoon, I will do the posting and the sharing and the commenting, and then I will shut my things down and will go and water my front garden because it needs some attention. It has been the most beautiful day today. I am so grateful for my outdoor office, which I did enjoy. I think I may have even got a little bit of sun. And just being a part of the wildlife and the birds. I brought myself inside. I was going to do this recording outside today, but I brought myself inside because the bird song is really quite loud and some of the cockatoos sound incredibly loud. And when they fly overhead, I'm concerned that you'll all think that I am being attacked by a prehistoric bird because they're very loud and they can be quite large. So don't need to scare you with that. It's been a really big attention out day for me today. Like I explained yesterday, I was going to be doing lots of calls today, and they've been about different things and different opportunities, and right down to conversations with banks and CFO advisors and people who I take advice from in my world. And it's really interesting for me to get to this part of the day. And I've ticked off all the things I needed to do today. So I'm pretty happy about that. I'm almost feeling confident enough to start adding to my list and go, hey, if we get all these done, maybe we can think about these things. Maybe we can think about these things. But I feel like I have managed my week and the demands for my week pretty well. The Success Mindset Masterclass content is almost done. So the awesome Sophie has been working away from me today where there are much less distractions for her so that she can really concentrate on getting those presentations and developing some workbooks for us and just, feeling really good about having that all ready to go for next week because next week, after the end of next week, I'm off and on a big airplane, which is really cool. So I'm looking forward to hanging out with all the folks in LA for both Success Mindset Masterclass and Therapy Reimagined. So that's pretty cool. And I was just, I spoke this morning to Julia. Now you pronounced your name very differently to the way I pronounce my name. But essentially, if you go self-care with Julia, you will find out who I am talking about today. And it surprised me at how vulnerable that conversation became for me. And I think that shocked me a little bit because I'm usually I can be authentic and I've worked through my issues and worked through the things that are going on for me. But sometimes I'll be asked a question or I feel a need to present a response that kind of goes, wow, this could be interpreted in so many different ways for so many different people. And then I get anxious about how I'm going to be perceived or received, and then I get anxious about the potential for somebody misunderstanding my intention, and I get all these conversations going up and around and around and around in my head. And for me, when I'm on my own and alone, it's so easy for me to stay there and have these incredibly unhelpful and critical conversations going on and on and on and on with myself. So after I'd finished another conversation where I felt incredibly vulnerable, that was with the bank. Talking to the bank about how they could invest in my business some more made me incredibly vulnerable. Any discussion at that level when you're talking about big sums of money and projections forward, and they will always ask you the question that you haven't thought about, which I hate because it makes me feel like I'm out of control. But he did. He asked me a question about my plan B. Now, I'm not a plan B kind of person. I'm an all-in kind of person. But he really threw me. He goes, well, if this plan that you've presented to us doesn't work, what are you going to do? And my response was, what do you mean it won't work? This is a no-brainer. This is like, if you're not going to give me the money, I'll just go elsewhere. Like, you're not the only lending institution around. But it was just really interesting how that question made me feel incredibly vulnerable and questioning myself. And again, I spiraled into this conversation that was very negative and very critical and unhelpful. And I'm here on my own. And I felt really disconnected from the people who matter in my world. And this is where I wanted to get to with this conversation today. We can't do what we do on our own. Now, I know you've heard that, and I know I'm not the only person who talks about that. And don't worry, I'm going to work really hard not to overuse the word tribe, because I do think we've overused it, and I do think people go, I don't want to be a part of that. That's horrible. But if we allow ourselves to stay insular, then our world doesn't expand. And in fact, what I've noticed with myself is I keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller and narrower and narrower. Now, I am a person who is motivated more by the stick, so I will move away from potential harm than I am who is motivated by the carrot, who wants to just go and achieve the good stuff. We've talked about that before. It's just a part of the way I'm wired. It helps me keep safe, and it doesn't matter why it's there. It's just better that you know that. So if I allow lots of those thoughts or feelings or sensations rise up in me without having an outlet for them, without getting some perspective for them, then I am going to shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink. And I have seen so many business owners, health professional business owners do this, where they have this expansive worldview and then they don't let the right people in at the right time to help them maintain that view and give them perspective that allows them to have this bigger view. Most of you watching this have got some sense of vision or mission or passion about what you do. It's really, really easy to get rocked and swayed by things that don't feel good, that you weren't expecting, that come out of left field. Somebody lets you down. We had another supplier let us down this week, and I'm just like, wow, customer service was something like, where does customer service begin and your desire for automation, systematization end? Like, the two things need to work together, and it's just like, wow, that was so disappointing, and the implications of that are fairly significant for our client, and it just didn't need to happen. That makes no sense to me. To be honest, I'm really intolerant of that sort of stuff, and I hate it when we do it. I just hate it with a passion. But that sort of stuff has been coming at me today and at me today and at me today, and I find it interesting that I've been so incredibly sensitive to it while I've been here on my own. So once I recognize that, because I really am speaking into self-awareness this week, in case you haven't noticed, that's what I've spoken about every single day. I need to get in touch with the people who matter, the people who help pull me out of that funkiness. So fortunately, I know Nicola Moras, and she pretty much lives on Facebook. So I was able to shoot her a message and go, blah, and she was able to go, that sucks, but you're awesome. We'll get over it. We'll figure out a plan B. She came up with a really cool plan B. Plan B is you just retire to Bali. There you go. I have a plan B. So there you go. If this doesn't work, I'm going to Bali. And I know you'll want to come visit me, but that's cool. And then I reconnected with my group of women that I meet with monthly that I didn't get a chance to connect with when I was in Europe. So it'll be 3 months since I've actually spent some quality time with these women who really helped me have a bigger picture, help me think differently, have whole different ways of thinking about the world and businesses and their lenses that they use to help them make decisions. And I recognize that my lack of connection with them has contributed to me starting to go down this precipice of starting to feel small, or I could move into that smallness. So I reached out to them, got some engagement going, gave them an update of where I'm at, and helped them understand how I could use their help today. So, where are you needing connection with others in your world? Now, I am not talking about those of you who need lots and lots and lots of people attention to make you feel good in the moment. That's a different set of issues. I'm talking about those who go, I have become insular, I'm not reaching out, I do need some perspective, I'm trying to do this on my own, I don't want people to know that I'm not as good as I think I am, I'm a little bit concerned that, you know, my facade is going to come crashing down. Those people like me, we need to reach out to people we know, like, and trust and say, hey, I need you in my corner and this is how you can serve me. And some of the biggest lessons I've ever had throughout this 10 years of growing this business journey and helping other people grow their businesses is work out how to ask for help. Most of us are so good at being independent. We are so ambitious, we are so driven, and we are terrified that we're not going to be as good as what we think we are. Now, I don't say that to be arrogant. I say that as a, you know, we're just scared that, you know, someone's going to come along and go, that's rubbish, that's not okay. And that whole criticism piece eats away at us. So if you need to reach out, if you are feeling disconnected, if you are feeling like I am trying to do this all on my own, I want you to think of 3 people that you can connect with, that you know, you like, you trust, that you can go to them and go, hey, I'm having problems with this thing, or I just let you know, I know I've been hiding for a while. Can I share something with you? And the reason why I'm suggesting 3 is not because I want you to talk to 3 different people. I'm just knowing that most of us are really busy and you need some immediacy around that. So I want you to find somebody who can say, yeah, we're gonna catch up in 15 minutes or an hour or whatever it is, a time frame that allows you to go, I don't have to carry the burden of this on my own any longer. It is important that you do connect with the right people at the right time to help you make good decisions and sound decisions, and not just have a band full of yes men on your side. Yes men are wonderful. I have yes men and women in my world, but we actually need the ones in our world who'll say, that's a really silly idea, Joe, or Karen, or Melissa, or Bob, or whoever you are. They're the ones that we really need in our world. Okie dokie. All right. So there's some self-care talk from today. Alrighty. So I am now going to finish this off. I've been going for much longer than I usually do. That's interesting in itself. Until tomorrow, when it will be Celebration Friday. Looking forward to the Friday. Go be your awesome self.